really over a falsehood, because the resources, the sharing of resources, the perceived shortages are artificial. There is enough for every African to have enough, but the systems that we are basing everything on, they create these conflicts, and we end up with wars, tribal wars, language wars, and factional wars, even within groups that are supposed to be one party or one community. They end up with factions and counter factions because of a wrong model of social and economic planning and organization. So all these things were firing me up like never before into some kind of a total conviction that it is in my time and it is in my generation that we must say to the whole world, how long should this be allowed to continue? This must end now, and it must end quickly, and we are the people that must end it. Then immediately, we started organizing the next summit for World Economic Congress, which was then held November 2017 at the Harare International Conference Center. And the theme was reconstructing Africa beyond limitations. And leaders came from 5 continents. That's how, and a declaration was adopted to the Africa Reconstruction, the Harare Declaration on Africa Reconstruction. And it was signed to by the delegates who had come from 5 different continents. And obviously the delegates were including others who come outside of Africa, but they were all in agreement that the reconstruction of Africa must be taken as a global emergency priority. The same way that we are taking COVID right now. I get irritated and agitated when I see people trying to fume and to pretend like they are very responsible when we are now talking about COVID. But there are issues that have been neglected by the whole world in Africa that are actually worse than COVID. This is hypocrisy of the highest order. And people are dying from malaria unnecessarily in Africa. People are dying from malnutrition unnecessarily. People are dying from illiteracy, unemployment, and hunger unnecessarily. And that was supposed to have been made a global emergency long ago. Mm-hmm. But anyway, no one may do it for us, and it is incredible and intriguing and very strategic now when we are taking ownership of the continent of Africa, and we are then leading the pack in order to mobilize not only Africans but also partners worldwide, so that we use this catastrophe and epidemic which is upon us as a pointer that we need reconstruction, we need redesign of systems. And I really believe that right now our biggest problem is not COVID-19. I believe that COVID-19 is just a pointer to our defects and deficiencies. So we must use COVID-19 to actually evaluate our ways and to evaluate the systems that we have been using. And COVID-19 has taught us, it has come like a terminal or a midway examination to prove to us, to say our economic system is wrong and it is not sustainable, because if an economic system can just be affected by a virus and then a whole country collapses, it means we must dump that economic system. It is wrong. If a healthcare system just gets affected by a virus, this virus, even when it has just infected 5 people in a country, we must now have a shut down and locked down because our healthcare system was based on the hospital and on the pharmacy and on drugs and the surgicals and on surgery, instead of basing our healthcare system on empowering the people to prevent and to manage their own healthcare and their own nutrition and diet. Now we are discovering that if people have other underlying conditions, they get eliminated faster by COVID if they have other underlying conditions. So why did we not introduce a healthcare system which eliminates the underlying conditions so that when this virus comes, it is just a tourist who is coming and passing away without taking lives?
Yeah.
You see?
Very true.
Yeah. So World Economic Congress is therefore very architectural. It is very architectural. That is why when we are talking even about wealth creation and economic empowerment, we are not just talking about creating jobs and creating employment. We don't just want to create employment. We want to create empowerment and we want to create ownership of wealth. Why are we afraid to actually get people to own the economy? So we are not simply interested in one company employing 5,000 people. What if the directors of that company wake up one morning and then they just tell us to say, we are shutting down the company because COVID is affecting our profits, and 4 directors can just destroy the lives of 5,000 employees. But if those people were having another opportunity and another option to actually form and own a company which they can become shareholders themselves, they would not close a company because of COVID. They would look for an alternative solution to invest into alternative sectors. They would diversify to cushion themselves against these risks and so forth. So right now we have millions of people that have been dumped off the unemployment pavement. And these are decisions that are being made by very few people, very few people that are ruthless and careless, and they are doing so because they don't want the headache of having to re-engineer anything and recreate anything. They don't want the burden of looking after people who are now having to work from home, and some people who are now having to be sustained under lockdowns. So we have been sitting under an economic system which is a time bomb, and COVID-19 is not our biggest problem. It is our biggest evaluator. It is an evaluation manager, which is now to be used by us to review everything and to leave no sacred cows in the review, and therefore formulate new economic approaches that are based on ownership and participation and inclusion. This is why the banking system needs to be reviewed, and no one will do it for us except the people ourselves. The banking system needs review, the insurance system needs review, because when insurance companies go vulnerable, let's say in countries that have had inflation and hyperinflation, we are witnesses of how owners of insurance companies, they dump off the policy holders when hyperinflation hits, and they'll just tell you that, oh, sorry, your insurance thing, you were insured for 1 million, and your 1 million now can no longer afford to send you a letter. It can't even send you a letter or buy a stamp to post a letter to you. And so before we go, so they just dissolve and dump you off, offload you, and then they go. But when they go, they are not going themselves where you are going. You are going into poverty, but the directors of that thing are not going into poverty. They are going into sharing the loot and the plunder in your absence. So we must turn the court the other way around and get those 10,000 and or whatever 500,000 insurance policy holders must form their own insurance company and then provide their own services to themselves. And when inflation, which has not been caused by them, when it now comes and hits, if it comes, they simply have got other assets that they've acquired through their lifetime contributions in the insurance company which they own. So they can simply move from that thing and go to agriculture, go to an alternative system for medical and health insurance. So we are just simply saying that the people that we are talking about, the people that are being told that, no, please sit there, just go to school, acquire some certificates, and someone whom you don't know is going to employ you when you qualify, and you have finished some schooling somewhere, schooling under a curriculum which you were never consulted whether this curriculum is going to work for you, and it's so people acquire piles and piles of certificates, and they finish learning. And then when they finish 18 years of schooling, 7 years of primary school, 1 more year of preschool to make it 8 years, then 6 years also of high school, so 8 plus 6, that's in 14, then 4 more years of college or university, that's 18 years. Now, a guy has just finished 18 years in school, and supposedly learning and training, and then after the 18 years, you try to go and get a job in a bank or in a factory somewhere in an industry. Then you are told that you are now a trainee bank teller, trainee, which means for 18 years you were not training, you were being cheated, you were being hoodwinked. So this is these are the fallacies that really illiterate, people have been schooled for illiteracy. Yeah? They've been schooled for ignorance. And now World Economic Congress, that's why we've got the things like the business chamber of World Economic Congress. And that business chamber, it's not just for the elite, it's for anybody and everybody who wants to become literate, who wants to be informed, equipped, and empowered to understand about their opportunities and wealth and potential, and not just to understand, but to be channeled also and to be planted in processes, programs, and ventures for wealth creation. So this is why the whole issue of literacy, it's not just financial literacy, but it's economic literacy. It's actually business literacy. It's literacy for entrepreneurship. And they've been driving a program which we call our training program for communities and for people to start collective companies, public companies started by the people and run and owned by the people. We call that program the SEED project, and the SEED project, SEED with 4 E's in between. And the 4 E's stand for, the full name is Sustainable Economic Engineering and Empowerment Enterprises Development. So it's Sustainable Economic Engineering and Empowerment Enterprises Development, because we are aware that Now COVID, the Auditor General and the Evaluator General, which is COVID-19, it is now showing us that the enterprises, the corporations that we have, they cannot sustain any economy in times of stiff competition and in times of disaster. So we need a model of enterprises that are based and focused on empowerment of the people. But in order to get to that, we've got to do economic engineering. We've got to do economic engineering. We can't just simply teach people the conventional orthodox things that are being taught in business schools. 70% of the content in business schools is false. It's a decoy, it's misleading, and it makes people think that they are safe until COVID-19 arrives. And then you discover that you were told a lie, and you were sold a lie, and you paid for a lie. Are we together?
Yes. Wow. That was information. More than I'd bargained for. But thank you so much, because that's the knowledge that's lacking. I think that is the glue that will help us, start understanding, shake us to start thinking for ourselves as a people, as a continent, as individuals, to say, what am I doing myself? And the more we take the first step and then connect with other people with like minds, the more we get to start solving problems from our own, from our own day-to-day basis. Okay, so am I okay to introduce Dr. Linus, and then we do the technical side of things?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, then Dr. Linus, the floor is yours. Go ahead, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you very much. Dr. Chisango has highlighted some very interesting points there about economic empowerment, which is really one of the fundamental things that we all have to embrace in order to bring about progress across our continent. But like with everything, if you want, I always use this simple analogy. If you want water in your home, you better get the plumbing right, okay?
Yeah.
And so the plumbing, the very fundamental plumbing, or the very basic building block for a strong economy, is an infrastructure that allows seamless exchange of value, so that people who create can actually sell what they create efficiently and cost effectively, so that they can grow their sales, increase their turnover, create wealth, be able to engage in even more enterprises, and be able to reinvest some of that capital into other business ventures in order to create even more sustainable wealth. And so one of the fundamental things that has been a big challenge across the continent is how does somebody who has a great idea in Uganda or Nigeria sell that product or service very efficiently to the 200 million people or so in Nigeria, or next door to Cameroon, or to Sierra Leone, or to Egypt. Now, of course, the banking system is there, and I hear people would say the banks are there. Why don't you use the banks? We all know the challenges that are posed by trying to move money from one bank in one country to another bank in another country, let alone in the same bank across different branches in the same country, in the same town. And so there is a very severe lack of an adequate and accessible infrastructure that can help to support enterprise and help to support and promote trade. And what we are embarking on now is to create a Pan-African type exchange, which can allow people to exchange value easily, seamlessly, and in real time. These types of infrastructures are already prominent in many major economies. In the UK, you have the faster payment service, which can allow you to move money from one bank account to another in literally real time, in seconds. Now, what we are doing is essentially turning that model around and saying it's not only the institutions that need to be members of this exchange, but individuals, businesses, financial institutions, merchants, can all be members of this Pan-African type exchange, which can really facilitate the movement of goods and services and the exchange of value as we begin to trade and create across the continent. So that's if you want to find out about it, we are teaming up with the World Economic Congress to really drive this. There is a WEC app, which is available on Play Store. For people in other regions, you may be more familiar with the Swift app. The Swift app, the WEC app, or any other app that is produced is really just a conduit onto that exchange, which allows you to be able to transact very easily and seamlessly with other people.
Wow. Okay,
the fundamental idea behind that is really to go back to we did this by going back on the drawing board and saying, if you really want a service that is accessible and affordable, how do you do that with the logistics, bearing in mind the logistic challenges across the continent in moving basic, if you want to issue people with a card, how do you really send that card around so that it reaches somebody even in the most remote village? And our conclusion was that we need to allow people to use the devices that they have. So if you have a basic phone, you can use the SMS channel on your phone to transact. And the idea then is that that phone that is capable of carrying out simple SMS transactions, you're just using the basic functionality that is embedded in the phone itself. And since your phone is connected to a mobile telephone network, wherever you are, it means, in fact, you should be able to transact wherever you are. So if you have a smartphone, then you install the app. Again, you install the app and off you go. You can start transacting with the app. You don't need a separate device that somebody gives you in order to do that. Simple example is, for a merchant to accept a traditional card payment, they need a POS device where they process the card transaction. What we're saying is, forget that. The merchant already has a smartphone. Let them install the app and let them use that app to start collecting payments without the additional burden of extra cost in procuring another device. That's one example. And for those who have access to the internet, of course, they can go online, they can log into the online portal, and they can do their transactions very seamlessly. It is really that exciting. And what we hope is that by doing this and by allowing people to use the devices they have, wherever they are, that we can begin the journey of actually making sure that financial inclusion becomes a reality for everybody across the continent. Whether you live in a town, you live in a remote village, you should be able to participate and you should be able to make instant financial transactions with people that are near you and people that are far away from you.
Will you allow me if I ask you what made you come up with this idea? What will you say? Is it to say we tell our stories and our stories will ignite something on somebody to move something? It starts with the individual. Let's hear your story.
Part of it is very personal, very personal. I grew up I was born in Cameroon. I grew up in a small village where I watched my own family members leave the village and travel to the city in order to get the salary that was paid into their bank account. And they will take that money. Of course, it's risky. You go and take your entire salary, empty your bank account, and travel to the village. All that needs to happen is that you can be stopped by bandits, the money could get lost, and then you'll be living in misery for the rest of the month until your next salary becomes available. But they did this on a regular basis, literally every month. And they will bring that money back. The reason they did that is because even though they were actually banked, they had a bank account where their salary was paid into. And this is something that is happening to many people across the continent even today. The bank did not provide them with the instrument or the mechanism to move that money, which is sitting safely in the bank, to the person who is going to cut their hair in the village, or to the lady or merchant who's going to supply them with bread or rice in the village. That's why they had to go and draw all the cash so that they can pay in cash. And guess what? Even if you have a bank that is near you, and you decide that you want to keep your money in the bank, the reality for many people is that you have to go and queue up in the bank to be able to get your money out so you can go and spend it. And this is still happening across many communities right now. So for me, growing up in that environment, that is something that I thought it's possible to change this. It must be possible to find a solution that can change this so that the money can stay safe in the bank, and you can just take your phone or whatever device that you have, and you can transfer to your baba, you can transfer to the local merchant that supplies you rice, you can transfer to the local lady that sells beer or sells kerosene to light up your lamp. You can pay your electricity bills if you need to. You can send some to your child who is in a school somewhere in another town, and you don't even need to leave the comfort of your own home. Now, that might seem like something that is small, but if we are talking about economic reconstruction of the continent and wealth creation, imagine the waste that is involved on a daily basis by people leaving their homes and going to queue up in the banks. While you are traveling to go to the bank, while you are queuing up in the bank, that is productive capacity that is lost forever. Never get that back. But if you were able to do that transaction from the comfort of your own home, you could put that time to more productive use. You could put that time to creating something that has an impact on you as an individual, on your family, your immediate surroundings, your community, your country, your continent, and humanity at large. There is nothing that we see around us that really hasn't been here before. What we are doing essentially is using science to transform things from one state to another, to create. Okay? And that process of transformation is what we all need to engage in. That process of transformation is what we all need to dedicate our time, our intellect, our efforts, so that we can create the future that we want to see for our children and the generations to come. We will not do that if we have to waste a lot of time, traveling back and forth just to access simple services that we really should be able to access instantly wherever we are. So that was, for me, that was a key driver. That yes, this needs to change. Yes, it is a waste. And for me, there was another personal incident which really brought it home for me. I mean,
yeah, go ahead. That's what we need. Those stories are what helps us to understand.
2 years ago, my mother fell very ill, and I went to. I was going to take her to hospital, and wanted to bring her here. And then I went to the bank to go and get statements. I was asked by the bank manager to wait outside. I'm not going to name the bank, but it's a very prominent high street bank. And the manager said, wait. And I waited. He was in his office having a casual conversation for an hour. And then after he came out, he said, oh, I have to go to a meeting now, sir. Why don't you come back in about an hour or 2 hours time? And I said, really, seriously? Come back? My mother, mind you, I mean, the situation was exacerbated by the fact that my mother was very ill, and this was an emergency. And maybe under normal circumstances, being the patient people that we are, I would have waited. But then I really hit the roof. I shouted at the top of my voice, where there were tens, if not perhaps 100 or so more people also queuing to access financial services in the bank. I said, no, you can't do that. All I'm asking is a statement, a printout of my own bank account.
Yeah.
Please, you will not leave here until you nominate one of your colleagues to get it for me. I'm not saying don't go to your meeting, but really that's all I ask. And I've been waiting for
hello?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. I was trying to get my system to work. Go ahead. Sorry to disturb you.
Okay, very good. Thank you. But what is the relevance of that? The relevance of that is within the ecosystem, this open distributed banking exchange that we are rolling out across the continent in partnership with local financial institutions, is that once you do a transaction, you have a record of that transaction yourself. The bank or your other counterparty that you are transacting with also has a copy of that transaction. And therefore, at any moment in time, you can click a button and you can get a whole record of your own transaction history and your balances that are held in your account on the exchange. And you can present that and use it where relevant. So I think the days where you have to rely on somebody to go and print out a statement or post that kind of statement to you really should be well and truly gone, because you know, these things can be accessible today with the use of technology in an instant, in real time.
You know what? I was going to comment. Look
Yes.
at that one. Where's my camera? That one? The gadgets.
Yes.
You remember? Can you see that one? That's the backless one, the UK one.
Yes.
Can you see that one?
Yes.
That's the German one.
Okay.
So depending with which one, with which account I'm doing, I use them too. But you know what? Because I have to use these in connection with my mobile, my online banking for each effect. So yes,
it's security. Yes. Of course, security is very important, and one cannot fault the banks for taking security very seriously. So if it is something that
can I intervene there, Mbai?
Yes.
You have to use a British one, and then you have to use a German one. You didn't show me the African one. Can you show me the African one?
But I'm expecting from you, gentlemen, to say, like, you know what, I am waiting, I'm already on the system. That's why we are here. That's what we are talking about.
Can I make a quick comment? You know, when you
the floor is yours. Go ahead.
When you're making a payment with your card, okay?
Yeah.
Of course, banks are very secure. But the Visa and the credit card, the way we know it really today, it's not that secure. It's not that secure. Usually, when you turn the back of your card, there would be a 3-digit code at the back, which if you were giving somebody information on your card on the phone, they would ask you to turn your back of your card and give them that security number. And that security number is available to everybody. So all you need to do is leave your card somewhere and for somebody to pick that up, and they may well be able to make transactions on that card.
Yes, they can. They can. With these contactless, anything below 30 pounds, you can go from one shop to the next. And you don't need a PIN code for anything below 30 pounds. You can go shop crazy with somebody's card. Nobody will ask you.
So one of the things we're doing is really to try and create an ecosystem, a payment ecosystem that is accessible. It needs to be accessible, but usually when you make something accessible to millions of people and everyone, then you also need to start worrying about how secure is it that everyone can transact in it and everyone's money can still be safe. So we put the security in the hands of the person that is making the payment, so that you actually have to authorize every transaction. It's not enough to call somebody and say, oh, the 3-digit number on the back of my card is 156. We don't operate it like that at all. And if there was a way for me to share my screen and show you a quick transaction where you simply can scan, where you can scan a QR code and make a payment, then that would be great. But the way we would do it is that if I want to collect a payment from you, Vimbai, I would simply punch the amount. I would punch the amount in my own device. I would enter the amount, and I would display the QR code to you, and you can actually scan it. Maybe we can try. It might even work.
Okay, go ahead.
Right? Let me get my phone.
I love technology.
Let me get my phone. Brother B, I think it's important. It would be nice if you were able to join this. It's interesting. We're having an interesting online stream chat. But anyway, I have to go because I need to try and do a test transaction with Bimbai. Okay, I'll call you back. All right. Sorry, that was Brother B, whom we were on the call earlier on.
Yeah.
Luckily, I would log into my app. Okay, and let me just make sure that I'm logging in.
Okay, for all those who are listening, I am logged in and I'm still trying the new system. It's the World Economic Congress. So yes.
So just log in. You would need to also log into your own app. Yeah.
I am on. And where am I going?
Hold on a second. When you log in,
yeah.
Okay. Once you log in, you can simply click on make payment. You see that big button in the middle, make payment?
Okay. Make payment. Yeah.
Yes. You will click on that, and when you click on that, there will be as soon as you click on that, there will be another option to scan QR code. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, just a second. I log in.
You see that option there, scan QR code.
Yeah.
So
okay.
You scan QR code, and I'm going to show you a QR code on my phone. Okay.
Okay.
Right here, and you can try and scan it. See if that works.
Okay. Good. Let's go for it. Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay.
Why not? So I'm going to try and collect just a very small amount.
Yeah, okay. I'll make it a bit more.
No, you've already received a lot, eh?
No.
I'm going to use a very small amount. Let's say 10p, okay? Or 10, sorry, 10 in rands, 0.1.
Okay, good, that's fine. So
now,
that's the other advantage that currencies on this system.
Yes, you don't have to worry about change. So can you scan that? If you scan that and pay from your mobile phone, then you will see that it's actually done.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, it's still scanning. It's not really working. Wait, it's done. It's done. It's done.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Did you say it's done?
Confirm pen, like.
Yes. Did you click on confirm?
Not yet.
Okay, confirm in that case, so we can see it done. Wow.
Yes. Yeah,
look at that.
Done.
There we go.
There you go. So
it
that's very secure. Okay, that's more secure than Visa a card payment you would make over the phone.
Yeah.
Okay, with Visa or MasterCard. That's more secure.
There we go. Where's my camera? There we go.
But it works in real time.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Anywhere you could do this. Now, what that means is that if you go to a restaurant, the restaurant can simply display the QR code, their QR code on their menu. Okay, so they can simply they can simply show their QR code on their menu, like this. And when you want to pay, when you display the QR code like this, and the customer wants to pay, the customer is in control. Okay, the customer will scan it. The system will ask you to enter the amount, and you will enter the amount on your own phone.
Yeah,
and you will approve the transaction on your own phone. I don't need to ask you for any credentials. I don't need to ask you for any 3-digit PIN on the back of your card. Nothing. In fact, there is no card. This is the cardless alternative to being able to collect payments. And because it works on a peer-to-peer basis, it means I can pay you, you can pay me, you can pay the merchant, and everyone can pay each other. That way, we can increase the speed with which money circulates around the economy very fast so that people get more wealth. Now, why is that important? It's important because if you have the lady on the road, on the side of the road, that makes sandwiches, okay? And they need to buy bread, they need to buy the sandwich filling, and somebody comes and they buy the bread and they run out of stock. They've sold all their bread. Now, in the traditional way, they would have to leave their shop and go to the store to get more stock, to buy more bread and whatever it is. But now with this, it is possible to actually order the bread from inside the app itself. And somebody, the supplier, can then bring the bread so she doesn't lose time. Time is money. Okay, so she can stay there.
We Africans have to learn to value our time, our minute. We need to learn to value that.
That's very, very important. So what we've done is we've integrated actually a shopping cart.
Sorry, Dr. Linus. Would you please allow Brother B in? He's just called me now. Please allow him in. Sorry to cut you off there. Or whoever is in control, maybe Mr. Mawere.
Mr. Mawere.
Does he have the link?
He needs the link.
He needs the link. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Zoom call.
Let me send to you on the chat, and then you can copy and paste.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll do that. You can continue. Yeah.
Yeah.
He had gone to the Zoom link instead of this program link.
This link. Yeah.
Okay.
So
maybe
maybe we just ambush the Linus and Dr. Chisango. It was just to test this platform so that we can introduce it to the people with content, and we can see that this is a popular platform where we talk technology, something that many Africans are not associated with. So, Dr. Linus, we talk of C2C, which is a connection to community. Prior to this, we were connected people. But now we are talking to the world about Africa repositioning or recalibrating the language and tone of what we normally discuss and share on social media. So bear with us. Most of us would rather talk about soccer, which is good. Talk about basketball, which is good. Talk about mobile phones, the voice side, not the applications and value-added services. So I think all of you, just to get by, isn't it remarkable that you have people from Africa calling themselves World Economic Congress?
Yes, amazing.
Not African Economic Congress. Isn't it amazing?
It is.
And now you have three. How many continents are we now? We have somebody in Zimbabwe, somebody in the United Kingdom. How many people are from the United Kingdom? Okay, so we got two. That is our brain trust. Some people want to claim those who ran away with their brains and minds, but today we can confirm that you didn't run away. You are still here. So let's celebrate the digital technology. And you can introduce yourself. You are the last one, and save us so that we now know Linus, we know Dr. Chisango. We don't know the last two.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
If you can allow me to come in, I come in with connecting people like everyone else is doing. So I got connected to the C2C Africa Heritage Society. You might not remember, I used to come to Rivonia in person and to attend your meetings. And for the last 5 years or so, I've been working on coming up with a similar technology whereby you connect people and you do everything online. You also use modern technologies like blockchain technology. So I also took it upon myself, to do a study on blockchain technology as you might know, it started with money. So with cryptocurrency, which ran on blockchain technology, but now you can run every business transaction that you can think of on the blockchain technology. So that aside, let's concentrate on the payment platform that we have. So we need to get to a situation whereby there's no need for you to go to a traditional bank, because you get all your services on one platform. You transfer your money within the same platform, which eventually cuts the cost. We have Dr. Chisango here, we have Dr. Linus, Mr. Mawere. You are full of financial literacy. You can provide all this on one platform. This afternoon, I was talking to my former schoolmate, and she is an accountant by profession, but because of the current situation in Zim, she is actually selling potatoes, she's selling chickens. And I said to her, send me the photos. I want to put your potatoes and your chickens on the e-store, because I appreciate what you're doing, but I want to market your stuff on the e-store. And these are the kind of things that we can do. And because of the restrictions, we can actually pay each other for products and services within the same platforms without even going to the banks. Even during this COVID pandemic, we don't necessarily have to physically go to the banks and transact. So currently, I'm based here in South Africa, and I've worked with so many different groupings. But what I've realized is that they work in silos. We don't work as one. If you bring in, I know there's a Zimbabwean community here in South Africa, led by different leadership. You have the same another community trying to do the same thing, but as individual communities, but not coming up together as one and achieve our goal as one. So this concept is bringing together C2C, bringing together Africa Heritage Society, World Economic Congress. We come together on one platform and we transact. Yeah, that's all I can say for now. Is Brother Mbi in yet?
Yes, I'm here. I've been listening.
Okay,
and,
thank you very much.
I've just been thrust into.
Yeah, he's there.
I'm not sure where we are. We initially we were on a Zoom meeting, and then I got kicked out by power in Johannesburg. And when the light in my neighborhood goes down, it also affects even the mobile connectivity. So I've had to drive out of my house, and I'm somewhere sitting in a car in a garage where there's a bit of light. And when I tried to connect again, and the colleague said to me, "Oh no, just join the live stream." And I'm wondering, okay, where is this now? So, but I can see that it's it's 1873 FM, and I'm actually delighted to be on here. I'm not sure, are we live on? Is it a radio station, guys? Just bring me into the picture. I'm a bit lost.
Wherever two or more human beings are gathered, you can never be lost.
Indeed.
We are here to give legs and eyes to what we're discussing in private, so that we can share with the public what inspires you guys to do what you're doing.
Oh,
and
that's
then
great.
possibly build bridges, not walls.
Indeed.
There are many people outside the digital divide. So it was first just to ambush you, to surprise you, and create a space for you guys to be in the public domain, where we can share the content. We are on 5 platforms, and you are on YouTube. We'll send you the link so that you don't have to repeat what you have been saying to us in private. And then
Indeed.
a thousand years from now, your voice will still be your voice.
Indeed,
And
indeed.
others will benefit from what is on your mind. So go ahead, just introduce yourself, and you are in South Africa, so it's even better.
Okay, so just as a way of introduction, my name is Mbi Mbappe, and I'm originally from Cameroon, but I'm based here in South Africa, and I've been on this journey for quite some time. And the interest, well, we run all our activities as a family, and our general view about how people should live is based on the precept that we have to be able to leave a mark on this continent in the world where we have come into. And in that case, we are we are involved in a number of activities looking for ways in which we can be significant on our continent. We can be significant to the people who are next to us. So as I said, I'm originally from Cameroon, um, and I've been in South Africa for the last 23 years. I have a background in technology, in finance, in infrastructure development. And I got um, this huge interest and drive to get involved in the financial services industry just out of our own personal need. And the journey spans from 2002 leading up to where we are today. And the main reason why we do what we do is so that we are able to provide access for every single product or service that is available on the continent for as many people as possible. And we do that, through financial services. We do that in healthcare management. We do that in in what do you call it? We do that in facilitating access into the different areas of social life for people on the continent. I'm actually walking around a bit just to try and get a bit of a quiet place where I can sit. I am I'm equally an author. I wrote a book about 2.5 years ago on generational wealth creation, and
Mhm.
and the main thrust of the book is how can we start from where we are to build generational wealth so that the generations after us are not going to start from where we started from.
Very good.
And that's the main
Mm.
thrust of the book. And it just basically gives some kind of a guide as to how that is possible and how it's possible to do that. And the book is on Amazon, but I have decided, at the beginning of June, that I was going to take it down from Amazon, and I'm going to put it on a platform which is created and developed within Africa, and people from around the world should also be able to buy from that platform.
Brilliant.
And that's what we are doing. So the whole interest in doing what we do is how do we leave this continent a different place? How do we
Mhm.
get the generations after us not to blame us for what we didn't do while we were alive and while we had the chance to do what we're supposed to do? And for me, that is just what motivates this journey, at the moment. um I can also share a little bit a little bit more, but that's what really motivates this journey. the one thing we have on as a continent is that we have huge potential across sectors, across industries, but we have made it a duty to actually undermine each other.
Yeah.
As individuals on the continent, and as countries on the continent, as communities in the continent, we have made it a duty, which is part of the legacy of colonialism, the legacy of apartheid, and the separation that happened within the continent, and which made a lot of Africans now to live, in a way that benefits what had happened before. And we make it our duty to actually undermine each other in the sense that if I see a brother in Zimbabwe who has manufactured something, the first thing that comes to my mind is that it's going to be substandard. If I see a brother from Nigeria who is producing, who is spending sleepless nights thinking of how to develop something, the first thought is, this thing is going to be substandard, or it is substandard. And even our response to service, when someone comes to do a job in my house and is an African, then the first thing I'm thinking is, oh, this guy is going to mess it up. And we do not look at the fact that the rest of the world have had at least 100 or 200 years of this legacy of people trying and then before getting it right. And we're not patient with each other. We're not patient with creators, with developers, with manufacturers, with producers on the continent, and actually encouraging them to do what they do. So I think I'm probably rambling a bit, but those are some of the things that excite me about the journey we are on.
No, thank you very much. It's unscripted, to the point, and hopefully somebody will be provoked, ignited, and inspired to think differently about what is possible. That's why we are here, and we ask you to be ambassadors of change. Just by showing what you are doing is enough. The storytelling is what we are missing. So when we come back again, we want you to tell the story that is not normally told, so that we can find reason to do things together, because we go further by us putting our minds together on a problem. Is there a problem in Africa? Yes, 1.3 billion problems. So if you pick just one problem, you are still okay. So let's pick one problem and put our minds on it and see how big we are. When we look at somebody who wants to transmit money from point A to point B, you can walk, you can drive, you can take a bicycle, you can take a plane, you can even use rivers as roads. You can do anything, but today we are privileged to be able to be connected without traveling.
Yeah, very true.
To transact without seeing the counterparty to a transaction. You just hear a notification and you say, what is this? It means you are alive because somebody has caused something to arrive to your ecosystem. How do we perfect this? How do we build highways where those who are on the slow lane, they still arrive? Those who are on the fast lane, they still arrive. But we are using one common highway. And that's inclusive and diverse. So this is what these gentlemen are talking about, the world being one.
Mm-hmm.
That humanity is indivisible.
Yeah.
If you need to transmit something of value, doesn't matter whether you're black or white or in Africa, wherever you are, you have a world platform that allows you to communicate value and to deliver it seamlessly, but efficiently. So how many Africans are known for talking about that? When we look at the African skies at midnight to look for shining stars, it's dark because we don't talk about stories. So storytelling is missing in Africa because we are not telling the stories. So thank you very much for coming to this impromptu and unscripted text. And we wanted to make it unscripted so that you understand the true nature of life, that life is never scripted. There is no genius of life. There is no expert of life. We just live it. Those who are privileged, brilliant, they still don't know what tomorrow brings.
Definitely.
Those who are idiots like us, we still don't know. Yet we look up to others as if we are lesser than them. Yet the Creator created us so that we expose the equality in us, indivisible as we are. So these gentlemen will come and we will push on them to say, if it's dark at midnight in Africa, please be the shining light.
Amen.
Not by telling us what you don't know, what you have not done, or what you threaten to do, but just telling us what you are doing. It's enough. That's a story in itself. It will inspire somebody.
Definitely.
Just to navigate, to learn together, to show us. That's why we have shared screens, shared civilization. So tomorrow we are going to start sharing so that we get into each other's space. One person, that's what we call radio, broadcasting. Like the Pope would broadcast, but you can't talk back to him. But you can talk back to another Pope called a priest. That's at your level. But the Catholic Church is a pyramid with one Pope. So thank you very much for that. And what we wanted, we didn't want to take too much of your time. We've already detained you from 5 o'clock. We don't want to be known as a prison of time. So we will give you, just to close this, and your commitment to sharing your stories, not other people's stories. We don't want angry people. We want angry people who are angry at themselves, not angry at what other people are doing. So, Dr. Linus, you are on the spotlight just to give your closing. I know we have a lot to talk about. We have 365 days in a year, not our days, but they were given for free.
Indeed.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, your words have been very inspiring. And even though this is so impromptu, I think it serves the purpose so rightly. And thank you very much for actually pulling us from the other conference call that we were on to bring us to this open forum. I really appreciate that. It's very inspiring. The one thing that I would want to add is that Africa is a great place. We are the continent is full of talent. And there is nothing. And I say to young people out there, and young, old, everybody, that one should never look at oneself and say, I can't do this. Because there is no other human being that was born from birth who is more equally endowed, who is better endowed than any one of us. or than anybody else. So human beings were born free and born equal. And for most of people's lives, the things they end up doing through their lives, they learn, they acquire it. I always say to my kids, I said, look, I mean, when you came out of your mommy's tummy, you didn't have any maths in your head. You didn't have any science in your head, nothing. You just came out like that. But through time, you have learned. And so if that is anything, it is to say that the world we live in, there is nothing that is really truly impossible. It's just the measure of how much effort and sacrifice and willingness you're willing to put in order to achieve your goals and your dreams. And we have big dreams. We have big dreams for the continent. Dr. Chisango has big dreams for the continent. We want to empower Africans to empower themselves, to be part of the economy. We want people from the north to the south, east to the west, to be part of the real economy. We're talking about participative engagement in the economy. And if everybody does that, every little counts. I often ask, and I've asked some of the governors of central banks in Africa, I say, but why do we have to go abroad to borrow money sometimes when other governments in other countries are doing their own? They are borrowing from either the the financial markets or from their own communities by issuing bonds. And to put that in context, if you go to, say, Nigeria with 200 million people, and there was technology that was available and unleashed out today in the public, and the Nigerian government wanted to raise 200 million, all they would need to do is get every Nigerian to be able to press a button and contribute $1. And they can raise $200 million for 200 million people in that country within a space of less than 30 minutes. It's possible. And every other country in Africa can do that. The question is how? The technology is out there, the tools are out there. I think through this kind of exchange, we can begin to share ideas on how that can be done. Because it's possible. What that means is that we have it within our people, the capacity to raise financing to build good hospitals. So our people don't have to fly abroad to other countries to get good quality healthcare, to build good infrastructure, to make sure that corruption is kept to a minimum. Okay, it is possible. With transactions today that are digital, if I do a transaction with you, I leave an audit trail. Some of these things can be used to stop within its tracks. It's possible to do it within a very short space of time, that before the end of the year, we could drive out corruption in some countries. We just have to do it. And to realize that some of these things are crimes against our people, crimes against citizens. Because by providing adequate infrastructure, adequate health care, you are exposing people to dangers that they should not be exposed to. I believe that within us, we have the capacity to make a difference. We have a capacity to transform our individual countries and to transform the continent at large, so that we can have the impact and leave a legacy behind, or leave a continent behind that our children and our future generations can really be truly proud to belong to. Now, the one truth that I want to leave on the table is that the responsibility to do that is ours. It's really truly ours. If we are thinking that some people from some other continent can come and save us and bring these good healthcare infrastructures and all the other services that our people need, then we are deluding ourselves. The responsibility is truly ours. Thank you.
All right. And any word from Mr. B?
Yes. I think, well, I can safely tell you that I was just informed that our lights are back. So
Yeah.
um,
Congratulations, and
in
we
wrapping,
want you to be the shining star, and already there are lights shining. So
yeah,
that's it.
yeah. So I think Brother Linus has really just brought it all home. From our perspective as Africans, I see a tomorrow that is brighter because we have made a conscious decision to be
Hello.
No?
We seem
I
to
think,
have
yeah.
a reception problem.
Yeah, it looks like
Africa.
he's breaking off.
He's back now. Go ahead. All right, and Sebius.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mawere, and my sister Vimbai for affording me this opportunity. All I can say is my role is to connect different communities to be able to transact on this platform as one. We can share ideas, we can share products, we can share services, and we can do it from the comfort of our own home, from at the palm of our own hands. And this is in our hands. We can do it. I would like to encourage all of us here to bring together the communities that we have and be able to transact on one platform. Thank you very much.
So, Sylvia, since you are in South Africa, and B is in South Africa, we are going to start our South African chapter so that we can begin these conversations. Planned is there, and benefit from those who ran away from us, and now they're English people. So we will be tapping on those who have settled outside Africa, so that together we can build a seamless global ecosystem. So we don't want you back in Africa, but we want your way of thinking. And the time you give up is still African time. So let's use that time for good. So, Mr. B, Saviors, we are going to be in the past, there were people who left Europe to come to Africa. And we now have people who left Africa, not as slaves, on their 2 feet. And they are now in Europe. So let's celebrate them so that we can connect with them and build something bigger than what could have been done 100 years ago.
Yeah.
When people didn't have ways of communicating, we couldn't see each other. Now we can see each other wherever we are. So Corona has already provoked us to think differently.
Yeah.
That we can be connected and we can build communities of change. So hopefully we will know that Mr. P is not in Zimbabwe, where power cuts can be the order of the day. And
well, it's a reality in Johannesburg too these days.
That's right. And that's what we just wanted to prove by hijacking you, so that we can expose that you are now free at last. And you have life.
Yes, Yeah, we are right in the. We have lights now, which is good.
So thank you very much. Let's keep on this conversation step by step, brick by brick.
Thank you very much.
We will move.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you so much.
Night, everybody.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Cheers.
Bye. Thank you, Brother B.